What's up YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm going to be speaking about having your Venus squaring your partner's Mercury in SYNASTRY. To Venus, this is the planet of love and beauty and what we value in relationships. The planet Venus also represents things like attraction, love, and things like pleasure. And generally it's how we express affection, it's how we express love, it's how we express what we value in relationships. And on the other hand, when it comes to Mercury, this is the planet of communication. It's the planet of intellect. It's how we process our thoughts and even how we share our ideas. And when it comes to the square, this is an aspect that is considered a challenging aspect. And when it comes to the relationship and the energies between the Mercury and the Venus person, these two planets' energies are going to have some friction in this relationship, which is why when it comes to having your Mercury squaring your partner's Venus, it really does bring out a sense of no matter how much you care about someone, the communication tends to be a little bit of a struggle. And it feels like the communication just never seems to line up in a relationship with a Venus square your partner's Mercury. And with Venus, this is especially going to show when it comes to expressing love, as well as with Mercury, it's going to also come up when it comes to discussing important ideas and topics within a relationship. They can feel like they just have a different love language when it comes to their communication. Like they're just speaking two different languages when it comes to the communication in the relationship. And for the Mercury person, they may feel like the Venus person is too emotional. They may even feel like the Venus person is overly superficial with them in this relationship, while the Venus person can feel that the Mercury person is too detached when it comes to their communication, or they feel that they're too overly analytical. And with this aspect, they really experience this challenge when it comes to interpreting each other for what is meant when it comes to communication. Like they misinterpret each other. And with that, this can bring a lot of misunderstanding, as well as feelings of being misunderstood within this relationship, as well as feeling like there's just a lot of frustration around this. And it's not only just feeling like they're speaking two different languages, they can also have clashing love languages, and even just the way they express themselves may be very different. Like the Venus person might be a bit more expressive in a way that is more romantic, and they can also include things like romantic gestures, while the Mercury person might be more so analytical. They may prefer logical discussions. They may prefer a more intellectual conversation with the Venus person over that. And in that way, their expressions just clash in this relationship. And even over things like Venus being the planet about love, beauty, pleasure, and even things like the things that they value, they could have different tastes when it comes to those things. Things like lifestyle choices, and even things like what to spend money on. They could have different views on this, and they could even experience that there's also further clashing over those topics in their relationship. And with the Mercury person more focused on things like the logical side of things and facts, and the Venus person kind of coming in from a place of beauty, harmony, and pleasure, that difference can really lead to them just having different and even disagreeing views on what they value and their tastes. Which is why with this aspect, it's very important to find common ground between the two of them and look for things like shared interests. However, when it comes to the positives with having this Mercury aspecting Venus in a square, it does bring in a lot of stimulation into the relationship between two people, and that is also a very attractive quality of the relationship and why they can be very initially attracted to each other. Venus tends to be warm. Venus tends to be charming, and that complements what Mercury is offering to Venus, which is an intellectual exchange in this relationship. What happens is that over time, because they express ideas differently, it tends to end up being that their initial attractions tend to turn into conflicts. The Venus person may come to seek more harmony. They want to have more affection in their interactions, while the Mercury person continues to prioritize the more logical communication and discussions, and that intellectual stimulation is something the Mercury person prefers and wants. And communication issues can come up where they both may even struggle with being able to feel heard in communications and discussions, because with this they can have a sense of competing with each other in their communication, where they want to be heard more so than listen. And so when it comes to the communication and the sharing of ideas, they can cut each other off, and they likely have different perspectives, and there's this desire to be able to express their perspective and their own thoughts. And they can compete in this way and you can see it in the communication, which is why the communication can feel frustrating at times with this aspect. And essentially, the Mercury person may feel like the Venus person is lacking in depth and is lacking in logic when it comes to their conversations. And the Venus person may feel that the Mercury person is coming across as too detached and too analytical. And when it comes to their relationship, having this square, even though squares are considered a challenging aspect, having a square between Venus and Mercury is not a highly challenging aspect to have between the two planets, and it's not entirely a deal breaker. But with time in this relationship, they may need to learn to listen to each other and really take turns when it comes to hearing each other out fully. Because with this aspect, when it comes to the communication between two people, it does require conscious effort from them both. When it comes to having Mercury squaring Venus, this aspect can be seen as a challenge, but it also can be seen as an opportunity, especially because both the Mercury person and the Venus person can learn from each other. Like, the Venus person can learn to be able to express their emotions more clearly from the Mercury person, and the Mercury person can also learn from the Venus person when it comes to being able to express themselves in a way that is more stimulating and less detached from emotions. They both just prioritize different things in their relationship, and this is what really leads to the misalignment in their conversations at times. But when it comes to being able to hear each other out and fully hearing each other out, this is also a part of their conversations where they can actually experience more understanding of each other. When it comes to their conversations, they can be very excited to be able to express their point of view and their perspective with this aspect, which can make it seem like they are competing and can feel a bit self-centered when it comes to the conversations and the communication. But with this synastry aspect, they also have a lot of potential to be able to really grow through any kind of misunderstandings in a way that allows for this aspect to bring a lot of stimulation to their communication in their relationship. So things feel like they are being more mindful with each other, and they also have the opportunity to experience more of a intellectual connection as well as an emotional connection when taking that into mind. Well, that does it for this video on having a Venus square your partner's Mercury in synastry. Thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it and that you found it helpful. And if you did, please be sure to give this video a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe to the channel for more videos. Well, that is where I love and leave you. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye guys.